Voice of God, page 40. Where is bliss? Ananda. We have countless desires, but it is certain that one day or other the things we desire will leave us or we will leave them. If we ourselves give up these desires before death causes that separation, we can have so much bliss. All our desires are like a tether to which we tie ourselves. As we keep reducing our desires, the causes for our sorrow will also reduce. If we give up all desires before this life ends, we need not have to be born again and suffer. We can get dissolved in Paramatma and become bliss ourselves. We feel proud that, as different from the beast, we are endowed with the faculty of discrimination. But in what way does man act significantly different from them? All animals and even insects eat, multiply their species, and die. Generally speaking, it does not appear that man does anything more. If so, what is there to feel proud about his faculty of discrimination? The highest knowledge is to find the way to enduring bliss. Does man get such enduring bliss? If we think deeply, the ultimate truth is that this knowledge, bliss, and we are all one. When we realize who we are, we will know that we ourselves are that knowledge, bliss. We do not get real happiness from external objects. Happiness is born from within ourselves. Even in the state in which we have covered our real state of bliss by our ignorance, it is only when we have a connection with something, treating it as ours, that we feel happy. If that connection goes, with it goes happiness too. I shall give an example. Assume that a person has some land for himself. Assume also that year after year the land gives higher and higher yields. Because of this feeling that this field is mine, he is pleased whenever the yield increases. Then the yield starts decreasing. He sells the land to somebody else. Again, next year, the same field gives still higher yield. When he finds this, does he feel happy? Last year, when I had this land, it was barren. Now the same land is yielding a fortune for somebody else. He thinks in this way and feels jealous about it. So long as the connection mine was there with the land, there was happiness. Later, even when the crop was good, the feeling changed. I will give another example. You must have seen that many parents come to me seeking cure for their children afflicted by mental illness. A father behaved exactly opposite to this. He married a second wife. The second wife could not get on with the stepson. Result, there was a serious quarrel and the family got divided. He continued to live with the second wife. He deserted his son. One day he came to me and said that his son indulged in black magic against his second wife, but fortunately it rebounded on himself. When all parents get worried when their children are mentally affected, this father feels happy about it. Why this? Because he has lost the feeling that the son was my son. With the second wife, his feeling is that this is my wife. That is why he feels happy when she suffers no harm. If the association with that I, which is subject to illusion, Maya, induces so much happiness, how much more blissful will that I be which is not associated with anything and is bliss itself? We find that even the bitter gourd, when cooked with jaggery, tastes a bit sweet. Since the sweet taste is because of the association with jaggery, is there any doubt that jaggery by itself is only sweet? By the association of that illusory race of the I of this bitter and sorrowful world, we get happiness. If that I is alone and is unassociated, how much more happiness will that be? If a light is covered by a small pot with holes on its body, the rays of light come through these holes. We see a little bit of the ray of happiness from the soul light through the holes, namely the senses. If the pot of illusion is broken, we can become bliss ourselves. Although, depending on the size of the holes, the light rays coming through the holes may differ in size. What is inside is only one light. If we break the pot of illusion, the multiplicity of the universe, what we observe will disappear and we will perceive only one thing which is of the nature of bliss. The only way to break the illusion, Maya, is to control desires. So long as there is mind, there will be desires. Therefore, the mind is to be stilled. It should not be understood that if the mind is stilled, we will become like a lifeless thing without any power as if on the verge of death. On the contrary, this is the state which is the support of all powers. Normally, for a person who has a handicap in one organ, there will be greater power in another organ. Just as the flow in one canal increases if the flow in another is blocked, the handicap in one organ gives extra power to another. If all the sense organs which scatter the spiritual force are blocked, all powers will then remain concentrated blissfully in one place. With such great power, we can do good to the world. The power of the rishis who had gained self knowledge is an example of this. They had gained the power to reach any world at any time and know things. They heard the Veda mantras from the space which we can't and gave them to us. How to control desires, how to still the mind, how to secure enduring happiness. Those who ask such questions shall follow the teaching of the Vedas. That is enough. In the end, they can get the inner bliss. May Lord Parameshwara shower his blessings for this to happen. The Lord will step forward and welcome. 43 page. When the wind blows over the ocean, which is still, small bubbles come up. With the blow of another wind, the bubbles burst. The Lord, Paramatma, is like the still ocean. Like the bubbles on the ocean, we, the Jivas, have appeared from the ocean, that is Paramatma. Due to the blowing of the wind of Maya, illusion, when the good air, the benign glance of the Acharya falls on us, we, the bubbles, burst and become one with the Paramatma, just as the bubbles disappear in the ocean. The water in the ocean never decreases. It gets vaporized as rains and the water flows into rivers, tanks, creeks, canals, lakes, wells, etc. But the ocean never becomes dry. New floods do not flow into the ocean. The rivers and lakes which received water from it may go dry, or there may be floods in these. In summer, household taps go dry. We say there is no water in the Red Hills. During monsoon, we hear of floods in Godavari and breaches in the Kaveri. But not a drop of water has increased or decreased over what existed at the time of creation. Some rich people sell their lands and purchase houses, sell the houses and deposit the money in banks, and convert the investment in bank deposits into shares, etc. The total assets will not change. Their kind and shape will only change. The sum total of all assets will remain the same. In the same manner, the total water available on the earth shall be in ocean or in clouds or in rivers, lakes, tanks, canals, etc. The Lord, Paramatma, appears as many things. Even then, like the water in the ocean, there is no change in him by way of increase or decrease. We get the impression that there is increase or decrease. But when the knowledge that what there is only one, no increase or decrease will be perceived. When the analogy of water is taken to explain the relationship between Paramatma and Jivatma, special mention needs to be made about rivers. Water of the ocean becomes the clouds and rains from which lakes, ponds, tanks, etc. receive water. The water in these storages does not again mix with the ocean, but all the rivers flow towards the ocean as if in search of it. There is a river in North India named Sonam, which means red color. This river flows over the red soil. Krishna river is in Andhra Pradesh. Krishna means dark. This river flows over soil which is black. Ganga means white. This name is also derived from the soil over which it flows. All the three rivers merge with the same ocean. Red indicates Rajogunam, the mode of passion. Black indicates Tamogunam, the mode of ignorance. And white indicates Sattvagunam, the mode of goodness. The personality of a Jivatma is directly influenced by the mode to which the mind attaches itself. However that may be, in the end, mixing with the ocean of Paramatma has to take place. It is said that water finds its own level. It rains on the top of the hills and rivers originate from these. It flows down with high speed and roaring noise. When it flows over the land, that much noise is not there. When finally it merges with the ocean, there is no noise at all. That is, when the river finds its level, which means that when it finds its level, it becomes absolutely peaceful. In whatever context it may be, only when we know the level and the limit up to which we can go and develop the mental attitude to stop there, there will be peace. Things which are carried beyond the limit with a lot of outward show may create envy in others. But by such acts, the result will be to destroy our own peace. The ocean comes forward to receive the river, which gives up its roar, speed, etc., and approaches it with humility. That is why the river water tastes saltish much before the place of confluence with the ocean. If we also do not exceed the level and proceed with humility, the ocean of Paramatma will come forward, take us, and have us merged with itself. Maya. Advaita does not say in the manner of Buddhism that everything is Maya and there is nothing that is real. Advaita says that the entire universe is Maya, but Brahman is the power that supports and sustains the universe and is the absolute truth. You say that world is Maya, a mere jugglery. When we actually see so many things happening, how can this be called Maya? Ask some. Those who ask such a question are under the impression that Maya means something that does not exist at all. But Maya is not a thing that is totally non-existent. When someone talks of a hare's horn or a barren woman's child, we dismiss it because such a thing cannot exist. Maya is not such a thing. So long as we think it is there, it will be perceived to be there. It is not like the hare's horn but like the mirage. The eyes perceive water. There is, in fact, no water. Thirst cannot be quenched by drinking it. Even to those who know it to be an illusion, it is visible as water. In the same manner, it is said that even to the jnanis who have realized that the world is Maya, it is visible. But they are aware that it is not a permanent reality. We mistake a rope for a snake. The truth is that there is no snake in the rope. Even then, so long as it is thought to be a snake, the non-existent snake creates as much fear and perturbation as a real snake. Even though the snake is not real, it is true that we sweat and experience fear. Although the world is not a permanent reality, we think it is a reality. So long as we think it is to be real, so long as we think it to be real, all activities take place. Just as the person who realizes that it is a rope and becomes free from fear, when it is realized that the world is just an appearance of Brahman, which is its support, which is the permanent truth, all activities cease. The world is not an absolute unreality. It is an appearance till true knowledge dawns. Just as the dream looks real as long as one remains in the dream state and the whole thing disappears when one wakes up from dream. So long as we are steeped in ignorance, the world appears to be real, but when we get awakened by true knowledge, the world disappears. Thus, the world not being absolute unreality, but a non permanent reality which appears and disappears, is described not as absolute truth, but reflective reality, Pratibhashika Satyam. Just as a shell shines like silver in sunlight, the temporary world shines as a reflection of Brahman by the power of Maya. To the jnani, Maya is a mere zero, but the one who has not attained true knowledge, not become a jnani, thinks that he is a number by himself and puts this zero by its side. Just as zero which takes its place beside a number raises its value 10, 20, 100, 1000, etc. times to this ajnani, the ignorant one, Maya spreads itself in a variety and shines as real things of the world. Jnani alone understands the nature of things. Just as several dolls are made from out of same sugar, it is the Brahman which has become so many. If a doll looking like a bitter god is made out of sugar, the innocent child will think it will be bitter and not run away from it. That doll which has the appearance of a bitter thing is in fact sugar only. True jnani knows that this entire universe is only Brahman, which is of the nature of bliss. What we think is bitter is to him sweet. What is dark to us is light to him. What is day to us is night to him, says Lord Krishna. The light that is Brahman is itself darkness to us. Maya, which is really darkness, appears to us as light. It might be asked how this is possible. Maya also leans on Brahman and gets a little reflected light. This little reflected light only can be perceived by our limited intellect. It is in medium light that black letters are clearly visible. If one opens a book in front of full sunlight, nothing can be seen. In the poor light of Maya, we can see the world of normal activities. In the jnani's self-effulgence, they disappear. That is the meaning of the statement that jnani's day is night to us. The internal and the external. Everyone born on this earth is ceaselessly roaming about without a break. What for? It is only to fulfill the desires. He desires to have the things external to him. He ceaselessly roams about only to secure them. If he gets one, that is not enough. The happiness that it gives does not last. He wants to secure another. He runs after that. He is never at peace. How can a person who finds that only things external to him can give him happiness and therefore continues chasing them get peace? A thing which is external is not under our control. It may come or it may go away. Even when we think we have secured it, it may slip out of our hands. It is impossible to secure happiness from things and matters which are external to us. It will only mean our effort to spoil peace. The reason why man goes searching for happiness from the external objects is that inside is the form of bliss himself. Because he is of this form of bliss inside himself, he is always in search of happiness. Due to the effect of Maya, he has forgotten that he is himself of the form of bliss. Even so, since his nature is bliss, he only thinks that he should attain happiness. Is there anyone who will not go in search of happiness but will go in search of sorrow? Yet, without realizing that there is bliss inside and enjoying it, people keep chasing the happiness from outside and keep spoiling their peace. With Ambal's blessings, if one prays and makes self-inquiry and meditation, he will realize that he is himself the thing which is perfect bliss. If his natural internal bliss can be said to be an ocean, the happiness he is searching for and chasing from external objects is like a drop. If one realizes this, he will not go in search of external happiness. He will enjoy within himself all the ocean of bliss. Do not the rivers go to the ocean and mix with it even if the ocean is where it is and does not cross the shores? In the same way, desires which have come his way will disappear as the rivers fall into the ocean and disappear. Bhagavad Gita says of the ocean, Apurya manam achala, pratishtam samudram. The brimming ocean stays in a place in spite of waters flowing in. He will be like the ocean, overflowing with happiness with no space for movement and remaining steady in peace. Sri Bhagavad Pada says that even the happiness that the position of Indra gives is just a drop in this ocean of bliss. Yet Saukyambudhi Lesa Leshata ime Shakradheyo Nirvrita Manisha Panchakam. Position, wealth, man, woman, prestige, publicity, etc., through which we tirelessly seek happiness, is like desperately trying to get a drop of water without realizing that we are ourselves a ocean. It is a serious mistake to think that we are in want because we could not get some external object. We have nothing wanting. Within ourselves, we are whole and complete. There is nothing external to us. All the happiness of the external world is within ourselves. If anything comes from that seemingly external, let it come. We will also take them inside, just as the ocean takes the rivers within itself. If nothing comes, it does not matter. In what way are we in want if nothing comes? We should always try to be clear that whatever is outside is but a drop of the absolute within us.